Buenos tardes. Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you for being here. I'd like to begin by thanking President López Obrador for his wonderful hospitality and for welcoming us all here to Mexico City. Canada, the United States, and Mexico today took an important step towards ratification of the new NAFTA. Aujourd'hui, le Canada, les États-Unis et le Mexique ont convenu d'apporter des améliorations au nouvel ALENA afin de renforcer le règlement des différends entre États, la protection des travailleurs, la protection de l'environnement, la propriété intellectuelle et les règles d'origine pour le secteur d'automobile, et de veiller à ce que les médicaments les plus avancés demeurent abordables pour les Canadiens et Canadiennes. Today, Canada, the United States, and Mexico have agreed to improvements to the new NAFTA that strengthen state-to-state dispute settlement, labor protection, environmental protection, intellectual property, the automotive rules of origin, and will help make the most advanced medicines affordable for Canadians. These amendments will ensure that rules-based trade between our three countries will continue to support the economic prosperity of all of our people and the global competitiveness of North America as a region. These amendments will make the new NAFTA even better. Je veux m'adresser au Québec. Le nouvel ALENA préserva l'exception culturelle et le nouvel ALENA préserva le chapitre 19, qui est essentiel pour l'industrie forestière, entre autres. L'amélioration de la protection des travailleurs, de la protection de l'environnement et des médicaments plus abordables aurait une grande valeur pour les Québécois et tous les Canadiens. En ce qui concerne le secteur d'aluminium, permettez-moi de mettre de l'emphasis sur son importance pour notre gouvernement et l'économie canadienne. Nous nous sommes battus pour une levée totale des tarifs 232. Le Canada est le seul producteur important d'aluminium dans le monde qui n'est pas soumis à des tarifs américains. Avec le nouvel accord, après la ratification, on aura la garantie que 70% de l'aluminium contenu dans une voiture proviendra de l'Amérique du Nord. En ce moment, il n'y a aucune garantie en ce sens. C'est une garantie qui donne le plus grand avantage au Québec, qui est le principal producteur d'aluminium en Amérique du Nord. Le nouvel ALENA est meilleur pour le secteur d'aluminium que l'élimination d'ALENA ou qu'avec l'ancien ALENA, l'accord existant. Ceci est pourquoi je suis certaine que cet accord est dans l'intérêt du Québec et du secteur d'aluminium québécois. Cet accord assurera des avantages pour une génération. Throughout the NAFTA negotiations, including discussion over the past several months on amendments to the agreement that was signed on November 30th, 2018, Canada has worked hard to defend the interests and values of Canadians. Je veux répéter quelque chose que j'ai dit plus tôt aujourd'hui. Merci à les Canadiens et à toutes les Canadiennes d'un bout à l'autre de notre merveilleux pays, de toutes les sphères de la société, de tous les points de vue politiques qui ont contribué à cet effort. Cela vaut également pour le Conseil d'ALENA et de les premiers ministres des provinces et territoires du Canada. I would like to repeat something which I said this afternoon and which was very heartfelt, and that is to thank all of the Canadians from every corner of our magnificent country, from all walks of life, from all political points of view, who have worked so hard in this effort. This includes, of course, Canada's NAFTA Council and Premiers, and I would also like to thank David McNaughton, Kirsten Hillman, and our Chief Negotiator, Steve Verheul. Thank you very much. Excellent job, guys. We achieved the result we finalized today because we, as Canadians, worked effectively and in good faith with our North American partners. All three countries found a way to work productively and collaboratively together for the common prosperity of all of our people. And we achieved together a win-win-win outcome. And above all, led by our Prime Minister Justin Trudeau, we Canadians played as a truly united Team Canada. Thank you. Merci. Muchas gracias. I'd be happy to take your questions.
Merci beaucoup pour votre patience. Nous allons commencer avec les journalistes canadiens, and then afterwards we'll go to the international press. If you could just introduce yourself and your outlet, that would be much appreciated.
Hi, Deputy Prime Minister Katie Simpson, CBC News.
Hi, Katie. I'm glad you made it.
Oh, thank you. Can you walk us through the moment you realized that you and your team knew this was going to happen, and what was it that got talks through an impasse?
You know, Katie, we have been working very hard on this for a long time. I would say since this latest chapter, since the 30th of November 2018. And there were a lot of false dawns, and there were a lot of boy who cried wolf moments. There were many times, I actually should go back and count them, when I briefed the Prime Minister and said, Prime Minister, we need to be ready to sign this new agreement within the next 24, 48, 72 hours. It got to the point where I became a bit embarrassed about yet another briefing for the Prime Minister. But what I said to him and to myself, and what we all in the team said to each other, is in the story, the boy who cried wolf, the wolf does eventually arrive. And the new deal did finally come together. We were on tenterhooks over the weekend. We thought at any moment it might come together. We were all on the phone with each other a lot, as we were the week before, that. I think some of the action was visible to Canadians with the visit of Chairman Richard Neil to Canada. That was an important moment where we could speak directly with the Democrats, who were such an important part of this deal. Then, and I forget exactly how many days ago it was, maybe 10 days ago, when Jesus and I traveled to Washington to meet with Ambassador Lighthizer, another important moment for all three countries. Jesus then, on the Friday of that week, came to Canada. We also had some really significant conversations then. And really since then, we've been in constant contact with each other. And, you know, I don't think we were 100% sure. I will speak now perhaps to my own personal, possibly Slavic fatalism. I wasn't 100% sure it was all going to come together until we met in the presidential palace and had a final conversation. When I talked to Bob last night on the phone in the airport in Ottawa, we both said to each other, really hope this is going to come together. And we got there.
So was it the concessions made by the Mexicans? Is that kind of where the most significant part of this coming together happened?
Here's how I would describe it, Katie. I think what we have all known needed to happen is some modifications to the agreement that would make it possible for it to be ratified in the United States. And with the Democrats now having a majority in the House, that meant some modifications that would make it possible for Chairman Neil and for Speaker Pelosi to move ahead with the agreement. It is public knowledge that perhaps the principal concern of the Democrats has been labor and the environment. What has made this a very positive process for Canada is every single one of the changes which has been agreed is in Canada's national interest. Every single one. And we stayed very close to the conversation because it was essential to ensure that that would be the case. And I am pleased to say that it is. Labour matters to Canada. We had a very ambitious set of labour proposals in our initial negotiating positions. The same is true of the environment. The same is true of the state-to-state dispute settlement mechanism, which I would say Canadian trade negotiators have yearned for decades to improve, and now we have finally done it. It's really a big deal, especially right now with the WTO dispute settlement mechanism cast into some doubt. So these are all changes that are great for Canada. Canada has been very involved to ensure precisely that this would be the case. And I would add, when we began this NAFTA journey, we understood that ultimately the deal which we would need to reach, which would be in the Canadian national interest, but would also be one that could be passed in the United States, would be a new kind of trade agreement, a more progressive trade agreement. And we quite intentionally initially put forward those positions. And I have to say it is with great satisfaction that I see quite a lot of those positions actually being part of the amended agreement that we all signed today.
And if I just may, for my colleagues in our French bureau, if I get this in English and French, there is some great concern back in Ottawa about what is going on with aluminum and what is going to be happening to aluminum producers as a result of this revised NAFTA. My question for my colleagues is, why did Canada not fight to protect the interests of the Canadian aluminum industry? In English and French, please.
Le Canada a toujours, nous sommes toujours battus pour le secteur d'aluminium. C'est un secteur très important de l'économie canadienne. Une démonstration, peut-être la démonstration la plus importante, c'est la levée totale des tarifs 232. Et je veux souligner pour tous les Canadiens, incluant les Québécois et les Québécoises, que le Canada aujourd'hui est le seul grand producteur d'aluminium mondial qui a un accès sans tarif à l'essentiel marché américain. Et c'est une chose pour laquelle notre gouvernement est battu et on a gagné. C'est très important. Concernant les changements qu'on a fait aujourd'hui, les changements qu'on a fait aujourd'hui n'ont pas changé le traitement d'aluminium dans le nouvel ALENA. Nous n'avons pas changé l'aluminium dans l'accord. Et je veux aussi souligner que le nouvel ALENA, qui peut être ratifié, qui peut entrer en vigueur seulement après une ratification aux États-Unis, cette nouvelle ALENA inclut un très important changement pour le secteur d'aluminium. Et ce changement est que 70% d'aluminium qui est utilisé dans la fabrication des automobiles en Amérique du Nord doivent être aluminium qui vient d'Amérique du Nord. C'est un changement très important pour le Canada et pour le Québec. Et je veux souligner que ce changement, le 70%, donne un avantage la plus grand au Canada et au Québec, parce qu'en Amérique du Nord, nous, le Canada, le Québec, nous sommes le plus important producteur d'aluminium. Alors, le nouvel ALENA est un accord très, très bon pour le secteur d'aluminium, pour le Québec. Les amendements qu'on a signés aujourd'hui nous donnent la possibilité de ratifier cet accord qui nous donne beaucoup d'avantages. Sans les changements qu'on a faits aujourd'hui, ce ne sera pas possible de ratifier l'accord et de donner ces avantages au secteur d'aluminium canadien et du Québec. So let me be very clear. For our government, the aluminum sector is very important, and we understand how central it is to the Canadian economy. Let me remind Canadians of the 232 tariffs. It was a priority for our government to get those tariffs lifted. We fought hard working with the sector, working with trade unions, working with the government of Quebec, and we succeeded. And Canada today is the only significant aluminum producer that enjoys tariff-free access to the essential U.S. market. That is a great thing. And that was made possible in large part because we had succeeded in signing the new NAFTA last November. Now, when it comes to the amendments made today, they do not change in any way the amendments we signed today. Change in no way at all the treatment of aluminum in the new NAFTA. What they do is clear a path for ratification of the new NAFTA in the U.S. and therefore for the entry into force of the new NAFTA. And the new NAFTA is excellent for the aluminum sector in particular. What the new NAFTA does is includes a 70% North American aluminum requirement for all NAFTA cars. That requirement doesn't exist in the current NAFTA. Once that requirement is in place, it will give a further advantage to the North American aluminum sector, and that means a particular advantage for Canada and for Quebec, because Canada is the dominant aluminum producer in North America. So the new NAFTA is a great deal for the Canadian aluminum sector, and the amendments that we signed today make it possible for that great deal to actually be ratified and for the sector to actually get the benefits from that deal.
Excuse me, Glenn McGregor, CB News. Minister, Nancy Pelosi today took credit for a lot of the improvements that you've listed in this revised agreement. And I'm wondering, to what extent do you think the Democrats winning power in the House improved the deal overall? Did they kind of save their bacon here and turn what was not a very progressive deal into a much more progressive agreement?
As you might imagine, Glenn, I am not entirely in agreement with the way you have framed your question and some of the underlying assumptions there. But let me say this. Speaker Pelosi and Chairman Neal and the Democrats who have worked on this deal have worked tremendously hard. They have been very engaged in the detail. The Prime Minister, together with the Canadian delegation that I was lucky enough to be a part of, met with Speaker Pelosi in June in Washington, and we had a very good discussion of these issues. We had a great meeting with Chairman Neal and a group that he brought to Canada last month in November. And our team in Washington has been working in very, very close touch with the Democrats, talking to them about this agreement. What I would say is, and I do want to say also something that I think may be a surprise to some people. What I have observed and what I have heard directly from Speaker Pelosi, directly from Chairman Neal, and also directly from Ambassador Lighthizer, is that USTR and Speaker Pelosi and Chairman Neal had an excellent working relationship, and it is to the credit of both sides that they had that relationship and were able to work things through. For Canada, these sets of conversations around potential modifications to the new NAFTA to get it ratified, it was clear to us from the outset that we would be supportive of them, that we would do everything we could to make them happen, because they were very much in the national interest and very much in line with our initial negotiating positions. Our initial negotiating positions were crafted with great care, and they were crafted to represent what we as a team believed represented the Canadian national interest, and also what we believed represented a path to bipartisan support of the new NAFTA in the United States. That is what I believe today's agreement opens the door to. And I think it's important for Canadians to reflect on how important that moment, if we get there, with this new NAFTA ratified in the United States, with support from Speaker Nancy Pelosi and President Donald Trump at the same time, to achieve a deal that manages to do that will truly give, I would say, a generational advantage and a generational guarantee to Canadians. My hope is that with the new NAFTA, a deal that can be supported by both Democrats and Republicans, we will be moving beyond the questioning that we have heard about the validity of free trade in North America. Canadians are collectively clear that free trade is good for us, and that trade in North America is good for us. I really hope that this agreement will make it possible for our whole continent to have a real consensus of the value of free trade between our three countries, and that will be a great advantage to Canada and Canadians.
Can you talk a little bit about the timetable of application legislatively moving forward? Do you give any assurances to the other side on when Canada will actually formally ratify? How important is it to you that that is done before the end of the calendar year?
So, as I know that you know, Glenn, we have just had an election in Canada. Our government is in a minority in Parliament, and we are just right now standing up all of the parliamentary structures, committees, and so forth. I feel strongly that this agreement is very much in the national interest, and that it is in Canada's interest to ratify it as quickly as possible, and that would also represent being a good neighbor and partner to our American and Mexican friends. I spoke today with my critics from the Conservative Party, the Bloc, and the NDP to give them a summary of what we agreed today, to offer them briefings from Steve Verheuel so they can learn some of the details. And I very much hope that they will join our government, they will join the Liberal Party in working as quickly as we can to get this agreement ratified. The reality is, it's a really good deal for Canada, and the more quickly we get it ratified, the more quickly benefits like a 70% content requirement for North American aluminum in NAFTA cars will come into effect. That's going to be great for Canadians. So let's get it done.
Good afternoon. Teresa Moreno from Edinburgh. I would like to know if the politics or the position of the United States President Donald Trump towards Mexico delayed the conversations on this new agreement, or did it represent like dilation or a problem between three countries? And I would like to know the way this treaty is going to improve Mexican and Canadian commercial relationship. Thanks.
Well, let me just say, I am very clear that I am paid in Canadian dollars, not US dollars or not pesos, and it's not really my job to comment on the bilateral relations between other countries. But I think that what we saw clearly and publicly today was that Mexico, Canada, and the United States have come together to make a good trade agreement even better. Obviously, there are differences between our three countries, between the governments of our three countries, and that is no secret to anyone. What statesmanship is, and what an understanding of sharing a continent together is looking past differences to find the common ground where the people of all three countries of North America can prosper. And that is what all three of our countries have done today. I do want to, as I said at the beginning, thank President López Obrador, thank Jesus Seade, thank Marcelo Ebrard, thank my friends Graciela and Luisa. We have been working closely with a big team in the Mexican government. They have worked so hard to get this agreement done. And I think with a real understanding of the importance of getting an agreement for Mexicans and for all North Americans. When it comes to bilateral Mexican-Canadian relations, as President López Obrador said, he had an excellent phone conversation today with my Prime Minister, Justin Trudeau. Prime Minister Trudeau and President López Obrador are two progressive leaders. They have many values and goals in common, and we look forward to strengthening and deepening our already excellent partnership with Mexico.
Thank you. Hi, I'm Stephanie from Reuters. My question relates to new labor provisions, specifically if the new agreement provides for any facility-based enforcement of labor obligations, given the rapid time frame, and if independent experts are verifying.
So when it comes to the labor provisions, let me say a few things. First of all, and I really should have said this in answer to the previous question, Canada is very supportive of the ambitious, I would say historic, labor reforms that this government has undertaken. Our own government is a government that believes very much in the importance of trade unions, in the importance of collective bargaining. And in Canada, trade unions have been a very important part of our NAFTA negotiating team. We support Mexico's ambitious historic labor reforms, and one of the things which we discussed today with President López Obrador and his cabinet was ways in which Canada, as a friend and partner, can offer support to Mexico as it undertakes these important, historic, but also very, very ambitious reforms. And we very much look forward to continuing that work together. Over the summer, Canada's then Minister of Labour, Patty Hajdu, was in Mexico City to talk with the Mexicans about ways that we can support this important work that they're doing. And today I invited a Mexican delegation to come to Canada as soon as they would like to talk with us about ways that we can further support and assist in their effort. And maybe they will have advice for us on our own continuing work to support Canadian workers. When it comes to the specific mechanism, we are currently going through final translations. This is a document, after all, that needs to be finalized. It needs to be translated accurately in 3 languages. And we hope that very soon the exact details of the text will be publicly available.
Okay, thanks very much, everyone. Merci beaucoup.
Okay, merci beaucoup, muchas gracias, thank you very much. And thanks to the Canadians who made that last-minute journey here. We would have given you more notice had we known for sure we were coming. Too. So thank you very much. See you back home. Merci beaucoup.